Good evening and welcome to the public meeting of the City of Lebanon's Board of Zoning Appeals for Monday, August the 1st. Do we have roll call, please?
Okay. Chad Kiger.
Here.
Bruce Pauley.
Here.
Ron Edwards.
Here.
Lori Gross. Here.
Okay, we have everybody here tonight. We're short one person who had to resign. They moved out of town. But we got enough to get started. Meeting minutes, everybody had a chance to look at the meeting minutes?
Yes. I make a motion we approve the minutes as written.
Second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Meeting minutes are approved. We have 3 items tonight. Item number 2251, Habitat for Humanity of Boone County requesting a development standard variance from minimum lot size width to replat 2 parcels located 1324 Southeast Street here in Lebanon. Property is zoned SF3.
Thank you, Mr. Pauley. I'll give you a quick overview of this one here, and as Liz and I joke, every time she gets a piece of property, there's always something that's an issue. And this one, again, has its own little unique issue that we need to address here. So if they want to pull the screen up, this is the site in question here, and this is actually 2 parcels that you see, one that has an existing home on it, and then the vacant parcel, which is the one that Habitat's looking to construct a home on. The existing property owner, 3H Property, would like to even out these properties a little bit such that the home sits on a little larger lot than it does. This lot is currently, I think it's only about 40 feet wide, 39 feet wide to be exact, which is a non-conforming lot in the SF3 zoning district. This one, as alternative, is a little over 80 feet wide, which is significantly larger than what's required in terms of a minimum. So what they looked at doing here is trying to even these out so they're both essentially the same size lot, which would put them both at about 60 feet wide, just a little under 60 feet wide. The lot width requirement in the SF3 district is 65 feet wide. So in this case, you would actually be creating 2 lots while they're both 65 feet wide and sufficient in terms of building a home that would be non-conforming in that SF3 zoning district. I will point out, you can't see it very well in this picture because it's not zoomed out wide enough, but the lot sizes in the area range primarily from 55 to 65 feet. So proposing a 60-foot lot width would be very similar to lots in the area. There are some that are quite a bit smaller. Actually, you can see this one here to the south is somewhere in the neighborhood of that 40 to 45 feet also. So the typical lot width in this area is 55 to 65 feet. So what they're proposing in order to even these lots out and make them both about 59 to 60 feet would be very similar to what you see in the area. So they're looking to take this non-conforming lot and make it make it similar in size. So because though by squaring them up, they would not meet that 65-foot lot width, they do need a variance in order to do that, to create those 2 lots before platting. So that is why they're requesting the variance for lot width is for you here tonight. There is no way to make both of these lots conforming. They would need another 10 feet or so to be able to get both of these to 65 feet, and that just doesn't exist without buying another home and tearing it down. So their best option here is to make 2 60-foot wide lots with the property they do have. So with that then, kind of walk through the 3 findings of fact. The first, the approval will not be injurious to public health, safety, morals, and general welfare, and we have determined that relief from the lot width requirement will not have any effect and will not be injurious to public health. Second is the use and value of the area adjacent to the property will not be affected in a substantially adverse manner. The use and value of the area adjacent will not be affected. The proposed lot width of 60 feet is similar to existing lots in the vicinity that range from 55 to 65 feet with only a few outliers. The proposal to increase the width of the 39-foot wide lot to 60 feet brings it closer to a lot width that is more complementary to the area. And the strict application in terms of the Unified Development Ordinance will result in practical difficulties. The strict application of the UDO will result in practical difficulties. While the applicant could choose to leave the lots as they currently exist at 39 and 80.5 feet, with one being a legal existing non-conforming lot, By replatting the lots both at 60-foot width, the lots are being brought more into compliance with the UDO standards. This proposed width is consistent with lot widths in the area, many of which also do not meet the prescribed 60-foot lot width in the zoning district. So with that, staff has recommended approval of the development standards variance request to permit relief from the lot width requirement of the UDO. And just to kind of pull this up, this is actually the plat that they're looking, make it a little bit larger here so you can see it a little bit better. This is their proposal. So you can see here's the two lots here. There's a dash line right here that represents the old lot line that you just saw in that aerial. So this would be essentially even things out, and they're like 59.75 feet. They're both just a quarter inch short of 60 feet. But evening them out gives the house a little bit more side yard setback where it has only just a few feet now, and makes them more conforming with the lots around. You can kind of see consistent with the lots to the west, which I believe are all 60-foot wide lots as well. So with that, I'd be answering any questions.
I think we're good.
Thank you.
Anybody from Habitat care to step forward and address the board at all?
I'm Liz Quah, Executive Director of Habitat for Humanity of Boone County, and thank you for hearing this request. We continue to be incredibly challenged with finding land. I'm sure you hear that from other people as well. So I am acting on behalf of this family that is, once we get the variance done and get everything recorded, that they would generously donate the half that doesn't have the house on it. So we'd have something to build on next year, so that would be awesome. So, so we hope you'll approve it, and it makes sense. I mean, they, excuse me, they wanted a little bit bigger lot where they have a rental house there, and that may come down in the future, and they might donate that land to us in the future. So it kind of makes sense to split it more evenly. So, any questions?
I think we're good.
Pretty straightforward.
Okay, anybody from the public care to step forward? I'll open the meeting to the public. Okay, I guess I'll close the meeting to the public. Nobody wants to step forward. Okay, go ahead.
I'll make a motion to approve docket 22-51 as written.
Second. We have a motion and a second. Kelly?
Chad Kiger.
Aye.
Bruce Powley.
Aye.
Ron Edwards.
Aye.
Lori Gross.
Aye.
Motion passes. Congratulations. Good luck. Okay, the next item tonight will be new docket 2254. Excuse me. New Jack Industrial. Properties located 309 through 415 South Grant Street here in Lebanon. It's zoned general industrial and comprised of 13.73 acres. The subject lot configuration is approximately 600 feet wide, 775 feet deep. This is the first time the request development standard variance has been appeared before the City of Lebanon Board of Zoning. The subject property is the location of the existing New Jack facility.
Thank you, Mr. Pauly. Working with the applicant on this site, they have, if they want to pull up the screen for us here. This is the existing New Jack facility. They have just in the last few years acquired this property to the north. There was an old house that was here that has since been torn down. And what they're looking at here now at this time is to be able to extend their security fence across the front of this property in order to provide a little security so people don't try to walk through this property. That's has been a challenge in the last year or so since they've owned it. So they want to be able to add some security fencing across this north part of their property. The challenge here is that everything that is in this striped area is in the floodway of the creek, where you are not able to put fencing like that. So, in order to install this fence at 6 feet height, they have to extend the fence a little bit towards Grant Street here that you see so they can avoid the floodway to get to their north property line. there are significant restrictions on putting fencing in the floodway, and so I know they have been working with the state to try to figure out what their options are, and the most logical option is just to avoid the floodway altogether. That's what the state prefers anyway, so they did look at this option. So in order for them to be able to fully fence in their property, they do have to extend that property a little bit out in front of the building towards Grant Street. And if you'll recall, our standards for fencing suggest that in the front yards, quote-unquote front yards, which in this case is anything between the building and Grant Street, you're limited to 42 inches in height and 50% open. A 42-inch tall fence isn't going to provide much security, so they're looking to keep it at that 6 feet in that area. Thus, the request is before you here tonight to allow a fence in the front yard that is taller than the 42-inch height. They will be meeting all the materials and opaqueness requirements of the ordinance, but it is just that they're requesting to have the ability to be able to extend that fence a little bit taller to provide some security across there, which is technically in the front yard of the building. So that is the request. Walk through the findings of fact here real quick. First, the approval will not be injurious to public health, safety, morals, and general welfare. Relief from the fence height in the front yard proposes no imminent threat to the public health, safety, morals, or general welfare of the community. While a portion of the fence will be located within the front yard along Grant Street, its physical location is still approximately 50 feet from the edge of pavement of the street, causing no visibility issues. Second, the use and value of the area adjacent to the property will not be affected in a substantially adverse manner. The use and value of the area will not be affected in a substantially adverse manner. The fence will be constructed of quality materials, and its location in no way inhibits the expected use of any adjacent property. The property owner also intends to soften the side of the fence with plantings of additional trees and shrubs. And the third, the strict application of the terms of the Unified Development Ordinance will result in practical difficulties. In this case, a strict application of the UDO will result in practical difficulties because a significant portion of the property is located within the floodway, where there are restrictions associated with placement of a fence. Installation of a fence entirely behind the frontage of the building is not possible, in this case, a security fence. The ordinance requirements are intended to protect visibility, safety at intersections, and in this instance, the proposed location in no way causes safety or visibility issues. With that, then, the City of Lebanon Planning Staff recommends approval of the Development Standards Variance Request to permit a 6-foot tall fence located in a front yard subject to the following conditions. One, that the fence material would be limited to decorative metal, such as wrought iron, to ensure the fence is no less than 50% open. Chain link fence shall not be permitted. With that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
And what are the diagonal lines that go through I know that's the north property boundary, but do those follow like an easement or a ditch?
Yeah,
or something?
I think there was an old rail line
Okay.
right away that maybe went through there. So yeah, that's why we've got that kind of odd angled property line through there.
Just curious.
Yep.
Sir,
Thank you.
would the client step forward or care to step forward?
Hi, I'm Jeff Zimmerman. I'm the president of New Jack Industrial. I appreciate you guys taking the time to listen to this docket and your consideration on this. One of the things we're purposely doing this for is not only for protection of New Jack, but also the general public. I don't know if you guys have been down that street. A lot of kids play up and down that street. We've got some steel tubing, et cetera, for manufacturing of what we do, laid outside, and I just don't want anybody coming up through the fence and, and getting hurt on the property, and also to protect New Jack's assets. So any consideration, I greatly appreciate it.
Any questions? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Once again, we'll open this to the public. Anybody from public care step forward? Okay, we'll close the end of it to the public. Look for a motion, unless there's any other questions.
I make a motion that we approve the development standard variance request to permit the 6-foot tall fence located in a front yard with one condition, that the fence material be limited to decorative metal such as wrought iron to ensure the fence is no less than 50% open. Chain link fence shall not be permitted.
Second.
Chad Kiger.
Aye.
Bruce Polly.
Aye.
Ron Edwards.
Aye.
Lori Gross.
Aye.
Motion carries. Congratulations. Have a good evening. Our last docket tonight is 2255. The property is, it's Andy Taylor with Kimberly Horn and Associates for DP Realty Holdings. The property is located at 401 South Enterprise Boulevard, Lebanon. Subject property is zoned planned business and comprised of 31.93 acres. This is the first time a request development standard variance has appeared before the city of Lebanon. The subject property is an existing Scott Barrett facility in Lebanon Business Park.
Thank you, Mr. Pauly. What's before you tonight is an expansion of the existing Scott Barrett facility in the business park. And if they pull the screen up here, it'll show you. This is the site as it exists today with the existing Scott Barrett facility. What they're looking to propose is an expansion to the east here that will take up the rest of this property, and then also extending the truck courts on both the north and south sides of the building, and creating a new fire loop around the building. So what's before you here tonight is a request for a variance to eliminate curbing on the truck access court and proposed areas that would be north and south sides of the building. And I will pull up the site plan related to this so you can kind of see. Here is the, what you see hatched here is the new building expansion. And then what you see then in the darker hatching north and south will be extension of those truck access courts and overhead doors on both sides of their truck docks on both sides of the building, with the fire road that extends around the building. The existing building, there is not curb on the truck access court areas, and so all the drainage sheet drains off of those areas into swales on either side of the building. And so what they're looking to do is essentially extend the current improvements on the site to the new parts of the building, will allow them to continue the drainage pattern that already exists to that new side of the building, as opposed to having to essentially reconstruct storm drainage to allow for underground drainage. So this is a request that we've seen a number of times in the business park, in this case for an existing building, just to extend the current conditions. And as I mentioned, I know a couple times before, this is something we're looking at changing in the next ordinance update that we're working on right now, to make it clearer how we handle curb as it relates to truck access areas versus employer customer parking lots. So that is the request before you tonight, essentially allow the existing conditions to continue a new part, and requesting a variance from the parking area curbing requirement as it relates to these new truck access court and the fire lane areas. With that then, I'll go through the findings of fact. First is the approval will not be injurious to public health, safety, morals, and general welfare. The relief from the parking area curb requirement poses no imminent threat to public health, safety, morals, or general welfare. The applicant is proposing a sheet drain from this area to adjacent swales and/or detention facilities that empty into nearby regulated drain, so there will be no drainage issues that would be caused by this improvement. Second, the use and value of the area adjacent to the property included in the variance will not be affected in a substantially adverse manner. The requested variance for relief from parking area curb requirement will not affect the use and value of the area. Curb has been provided at the entrances and adjacent to the street frontage, which is most visible. The elimination of the curb for the truck areas is consistent with other uses in the business park. And number three, the strict application of the terms of the UDO will result in practical difficulties. In this case, we have determined the strict application of the UDO will result in practical difficulties. The existing site is designed to sheet drain rainwater into swales. Requiring curb on this new addition and the remainder of the site would require re-engineering of the site's drainage and detention system, thus presenting an undue hardship on the property owner. With that then, Lebanon Planning staff has recommended approval of the Development Standards Variance Request to permit relief from the parking curb requirements of the Unified Development Ordinance. With that, I'd be happy to answer any questions if there are any.
Good. Good to go.
Thank you.
Taylor, would you care to step forward?
Yes, thank you. Andy Taylor with Kinley Horn Associates here on behalf of Pure Development. We've got Justin Lawhorn with Pure here as well. Ben did an excellent job explaining the situation. This building was built, I believe, in the early 2000s, before the ordinance was in place, when the curbing was required. So we're basically trying to expand what was there previously, and the way the drainage is designed prohibits us from really putting curb in. Otherwise, we'll have ponding up against the truck court. and not being able to really sheet drain across the truck court like it does today. So if you have any other questions, happy to address those.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Open up the public end of the meeting. Anybody care to step forward? Close the public end of the meeting and look for a vote.
I'll make a motion to approve docket 22-55 as written.
Second.
Have a motion second. Kelly?
Chad Kiger,
Aye.
Bruce Pauly,
Aye.
Ron Edwards,
Aye.
Lori Gross.
Aye.
Motion carries. Congratulations. Good luck. Do we have any other business tonight? With that, we'll have the next board meeting September the 6th, which is Tuesday night. I guess the 5th would be Labor Day, so we'll have it on Tuesday night. Okay, look for an adjournment, motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion adjourned, or meeting adjourned, I'm sorry.